Scotland-France. All comes down, of course, to the referee's question. But for you, a try?
Stu, I thought it was a try. Let's come back a bit. Let me say I really feel for the officials here. I thought referee Berry did a really good job in that game because we hardly knew he was there. He didn't. I don't think he made bad calls. I thought he was staying out of it. It should never have been in that situation. Scotland should have had that game long before it got to that point. And, there was a scrum just before half-time. There was a sin bin to the French. At the second setting of that scrum, and it's at the 41-minute mark, take the points, get ahead. Scotland seemed to think that they could just rope-a-dope France for that last 40 minutes. And it was never going to be the case. France played really poorly. Probably 6 seconds of great rugby from Beale Berry, a great kick through, terrible backfield defending from the Scots, shocking positioning from their fullback, and they score a try. And all of a sudden they're behind. They then play really well. They get the ball in hand, they show what they can do, and they can play good rugby. But they should have done that for a lot more of the second half and put the game away, get 2 scores ahead. And got to that last one. So what did you looked at the replay, and the referee said, held up. It's hit a leg. And when you see the replay, it does hit a leg. And then it definitely slides onto the ground. There's no doubt it got grounded. And again, I felt for the TMO because the way it works, the referee said, I have no try. Can you give me evidence that that's a try? Now, we could see it hit the ground, and we all knew it was a try. Everyone knew it was a try, but you couldn't tell if it was over the line. And so was it definitely over the line? And he couldn't prove that. And I really felt for the officials, right? Because they've got to stick to their guidelines and what it says. On the guidelines, that was no try. Did I personally feel it was a try? Yes, I did. And I think everyone did. Now, here's the only other part. If we didn't have a TMO, it's no try. Because the referee said, held up, and if there was no TMO, in the game. It's over. But it wasn't. Was justice done? Probably not. You could go back and say there was a great break by Gail Fiku in the first half. He's tackled. It's a strap tackle. It probably should have been a penalty by Venamua. He gets up. He is offside by half a step, half a metre, takes the intercept from a pass, runs 40 metres. That should have been a penalty that would have led to trial with the game been over. We don't know. But did the officials act in the right way? That's the question. In my book, they did. Again, I felt for them, and we all felt it was a try, but their hands were tied on the way they are told or structured to ask their questions and make their decisions. That's my opinion. I can understand why other people come from it from another point of view. Very, very frustrating for the Scots.
I'll take away that last infringement, bit of play. Scotland would have felt that game was certainly there for the taking. And did you feel they could have played a bit more in the second half? We saw plenty of kicking, the old DuPont law, as they say, but really, did you think they'd performed better and actually could have been further ahead against France? But then, of course, Beale Berry just did his magic, and that really was the making of the game.
Yeah, look, it's understandable, and it's easy talk from the outside. When you're ahead like that and you don't really feel the opposition are threatening your line too much, it's easy, and you're 6 points up, it's easy to kind of fall into that scenario of just play that kick tennis and contain a little bit. And usually we only see a bit of panic from teams when they go behind. And then when Beale Berry scores a try, Scotland started to go, Jesus, we could lose this game. And we've been pretty comfortable. France really haven't really troubled us a lot. Scotland were stealing their lineouts. They were frustrating them. They were getting on the front foot. They were getting good quality ball, but they just weren't playing the way I thought they should have. It was one more surge, one more score, and that game was French heads would have dropped and Scotland would have won comfortably in the end. So I think they'll be frustrated looking back at it. They started chasing things then when they went behind. I disagree with Matt here about Nick Berry, because I thought, and it's not a big criticism, it's something that bugs me a little bit. He got all his decisions right in the game. I'm not saying he got anything wrong, but he's doing a lot of coaching. He's telling players, stand here, go back here, offside, hold your hands, release the ball, stay onside. And I notice that more when you're in commentary. So maybe when you're in the studio, and I mean this respectfully, Matt, I just have a bit of bugbear for modern day referees. They're literally coaching players where they should go, where they shouldn't go. And then you have players who can push the pin a little bit, and they know they have a referee who's going to say, "Oh, step back a little bit there, you're offside." I think there should be less of that in the game. The kick tennis stuff that was going on, that's out of his control, obviously, and all our control. But World Rugby need to change that, because you have too many players in the middle of the field just standing still. You got to work players, fatigue them. Player who kicks the ball has got to bring people on side, and they can't move until they're brought on side. This scenario of standing 10 yards away from the receiver and you can move forward when he moves is wrong. The decision at the end of the game, there's three questions Nick Berry can ask. Three situations here. The first one was, it's held up. Can you show me if it's a try? Or basically change his mind. His decision, it's held up. Can you provide evidence that the try has been scored? The next question he can ask is, try yes or no. That's kind of passing it over to the TMO, and then you're in a situation of, well, in all probabilities, the TMO can get to that point easy and say, look, I'm 90% sure there's a try scored here. And he can say, look, the ball has been grounded, it's a try. And the other one is, I knew I'd forget myself when I'm saying this, is there any reason I cannot award the try? So if Nick Berry gives the try, and there's a bit of controversy and the TMO says, oh, check, I need to have a look at this, I'm not sure if it's a try. So there's kind of three situations there. I thought Nick Berry, he initially says held up, which that was the picture, then the ball gets pulled down. He's the best placed person to stick his head in there, and we often see it 2 or 3 seconds after everything goes quiet and the referee is rummaging through the crowd, and then he goes try. I think Nick Berry, he got really hooked into it's held up rather than giving it a second or two, even if he says it's held up, but then going through and staying on it. So he kind of finished his scenario when he said held up. And I think if he stayed on the situation there, he would have been able to say, I changed my own mind, and I think that's a try, because he's the closest to it. The picture we definitely see a ball flopping down. Brian McAneese, the TMO.
That's what I was going to say, Quinny. Do you think, though, by the third, there was a third replay or fourth replay, I thought he was going to change his mind, and then they showed one more.
I thought so.
Did you think he was going to change? And then what do you think? Who knows what goes on people's brains?
I did.
What do you think he saw the last one to be like, no, I'm actually not going to change, I'm going to stick with no try?
Well, you see, the situation that developed with the referee has already made the decision that the ball is held up. So Brian McAneese has to be 100% sure that the try is scored. We see the ball going down. Is it on the line? Probably, but not definitely. Yeah. Is there a couple of fingers under that ball? Highly unlikely, but possibly. So this stuff is going through Brian Mac. He has to have a picture that says this try is 100% scored. Loads of people are putting still shots up and on the internet and taking pictures from the cameras and widening it and all that. It looks like the ball is down. But then if you're a French player and you say, honest to God, my fingertips are under that ball, again, it's highly unlikely. But Brian McAneese, he stuck to the protocol. He has to provide 100% evidence that it's a try. He can't overrule the referee if he's 85, 90% sure it's a try. So we're all pretty sure it's a try. But I think it broke down there, and ultimately it goes back to Nick Berry. I think he should have been digging his head through that roll when all the Scottish people were shouting, it's down, it's down, it's down. And he should have changed his mind and said, I now see the ball on the ground. But look, very unfortunate situation for Scotland, because that would have been a big win for him. You know, we spoke about the consistency, and I think, again, they let one slip here. France were not at their best, and France were not at their best against Ireland. So, that's the point. Without us getting carried away, I think that's when you can get really, you can get egg in your face very quickly. But Scotland had that game for the winning, and to be fair to Finn Russell, I like the fact that he came out and said, "Look, we've no one to blame, only ourselves."